We did have our first ever head-to-head best bet last week, and I want to give props to you. Your horse, Wally's World, wins the race at 4-5, so just a little bit of props. Not even money props because the horse wasn't even money. My horse, who is 15-1 on the morning line, finishes second at 9-1, $18.90 exacta for $1. So if you just put our two horses together, 19-1 on the exacta.
This is VSiN at the Track. Now here's your hosts, Mike Somich and Aaron Halterman.
Welcome in here, VSiN at the Track. I am Mike Somich. He is Aaron Halterman. As always, presented by First Bet, the official horse racing sponsor of VSiN. And Aaron, got another loaded show again today. It's fun to have busy shows here in December. We're going to talk about some of the news. We're going to talk about Paladin, who dominates the Remsen, Zany, who is very good in the Demoiselle, both earning Derby and Oaks points. We're going to talk about some races coming up this weekend as well. We're going to prep the Tropical Park Oaks as well as the Tropical Park Derby over at Gulfstream Park, the Ring the Bell at Oaklawn, your favorite place in the world, as well as the Los Alamitos, not Alamos, Futurity there with Derby points on the line over at Los Alamitos as well. Mr. Halterman, how's life on this fine Thursday?
It's great. And notice you're the one wearing black today, not me. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's going to be a good show. I am really curious to hear your thoughts on what happened last weekend, a couple of races we're going to talk about. I think they were strong, but I can't wait to hear your opinion on those. And it should be a really good show. It's funny. I was talking to our boy Patrick last night, and I was like, look, like the Kentucky Derby Trail, believe it or not, like it's heating up. I know it's December and we're looking at May, but now till like April, every week is important. So it's always fun.
Yeah, it's interesting because all of these points matter. If you look at how many points it takes to get into a Derby and how many people are competing for those points, catching 5-10 points now makes a difference when you come down to those feature races. We talk about the Lexington every year, the last race with points on the line, and some of these trainers trying to get those last 3, 5, 10 points to be able to get them in. You can get those points now as well. And we'll start out here with what happened there at Aqueduct last weekend. Last Saturday, we see the preps in both the Remsen and the Demoiselle, both 1 1/8 miles. So interesting preps from that perspective. Over on the Derby side, in the Remsen, we see Paladin win the race, I thought pretty impressively, as your $1.88 favorite here. What were your thoughts on Paladin and the victory in the Remsen?
Yeah, he lived up to kind of what I was thinking, hoping, wanting him to do. I thought it was a very professional win. I thought as they approached the wire, he kicked away pretty strongly. I do think it's just a second start, so I do think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I think with Chad Brown, we kind of see that. They improve as they go down this Derby Trail race by race. So I don't think that's the best race you're ever going to see from him, but I thought it was very good. I liked, the first race, he kind of sat outside of horses and really didn't get any dirt in the face and just kind of had to trip really his way. Not that this was a bad trip, but it was more of an educational trip where he was inside of horses. He was still very forwardly placed, but he was getting some kickback. Didn't seem to bother him. I saw the picture of him right after the race. He had some dirt on his face, and I think for 2-year-olds turning 3, just to get a little bit of education each start, I think means a lot. So I liked what he did. And also, the first race, it was Renegade trying to run down Paladin and did so, actually. This time, Renegade makes the first move, and it's Paladin trying to run that horse down. So, again, it was another dimension, another thing you kind of look at. And I thought Paladin showed great maturity. I do think he's got to get a little bit faster. The good news is with that, there's time to get a little bit faster. We're still very early. So I thought it was a very good effort.
And by faster, you mean complete race, not necessarily out of the gate, correct?
Correct, yes. Yes. They were a half second slower than the female version that we're going to talk about next. So, yes, exactly. I just feel like he finished strongly, but it still wasn't that fast of a time. So got to get a little bit quicker as far as that goes.
I thought what was most impressive about this is what you mentioned kind of inside that diatribe. Their second career race, and this was 1 1/8 miles. That is not an easy thing for a horse to do. The debut was at 1 mile. Renegade won, but was disqualified in that spot. So Paladin got the first place purse money. That was also a race where this horse was engaged the entire time. It was first or second at every single call in that spot. I liked the idea that you could get a different trip than necessarily just being out front here, especially going a mile and an eighth second time in the career. Now, was forward early in this race, but tucked back and then was able to make that run after being passed by Renegade. I thought that was the most impressive part of this for a second start at 2, going a mile and an eighth, to be able to have not just the gate to wire trip, the easy trip that you can see for some of these horses that win these type of races, especially this early in the Derby cycle. That to me gave me the feeling that there's some upside, and there better be some upside if we're being honest here. This is a $1.9 million colt, son of Gunrunner out of a Tappet mare, so bred just exceptionally top and bottom to be able to get the distance, to be able to keep going. And it's nice to exit the Remsen and say, that's a horse that could make the Derby gate. That's not something we have consistently said, and we talked about this last week, that this was a much better race top to bottom than what we've seen from the Remsen in the past. And I think it played out in that manner. We did have the top 2 finishers, Renegade and Paladin, come from the same race, but I thought Balboa ran pretty big here and had a shot at winning this race late. Courting is a horse that needs to mentally figure it out, ends up running 4th here, kind of forgot to run for about, half the race, and then was like, oh, wait a second, I need to hurry up here, and started to make a move down the lane. So I thought a very, very good version of the Remsen. I think that we have at least one Derby horse that's going to come out of this race, and up to as many as 4, which is kind of crazy to say. I'd say Balboa probably the longest shot of those 4 to make the gate.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. This race kind of reminds me, talking about Renegade and Paladin specifically, kind of reminds me of the Mo Donegal Zandon version of the Remsen that we had. I can't remember I think it was 2022 maybe that happened. But anyway, where they were just really good, and you knew they were really good when you watched it. Of course, Mo Donegal does go on to win the Belmont. Zandon was 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. That felt like that kind of race this year as well. I'm glad you mentioned Courting. I was going to mention him before we moved on. Was that not wild? Because if you go back and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch the race and just watch Courting. He's running. It's so clear he's just running kind of when he wants to, just in spots. At the top of the stretch, it looks like he's going to run last. He is dropping, and horses are just flying by him. And to be quite honest with you, Mike, I didn't realize he finished 4th until the next day when I went back and watched, and I went back and looked at the chart. I'm like, Courting, no, that has to be wrong. And you watch, and it's like, oh, he woke up when he went from like 4th to 10th, and then he was running again. So he's got ability, but will we ever really see it, or will we see it early enough? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, Courting, a $5 million son of Curlin out of a Bernardini mare, just wild purchase price there. Did win in his second race, going a mile, and that's kind of what propelled him up to this level. I think like the talent is clearly there, and we usually see this with Tappet horses where they're just kind of head cases. It's generally not Curlin horses that have this issue. We always talk about this though. Sometimes it's not the best horse that wins the Kentucky Derby. It's the horse that is furthest along mentally that can win the Kentucky Derby, because you're going to face adversity. You can't run in spots. You have to run the entire time and be able to be an athletic horse as well. Courting, I have a little concern around the athleticism too. Feels like a bigger lumbering horse that when the stride gets going is a very fast horse, but anytime you break that stride, it takes a while to get back into it. I still think Courting is a very interesting horse long term. I'm just not sure that a field of 20 going to be the best spot to get the best version of Courting.
I wouldn't think so. No, he needs that 1.5 mile Belmont, which we're not going to have this year, as up at Saratoga for the last time. But that's what he looks like, a plotter a little bit to me. And what that just means is he's kind of the horse that runs the same speed all the way around the track, right? Now, that being said, he really didn't do that this time because he was taking, quarters off, basically. So, but I think they can get him there, but I'm with you. I don't think this is unless we just see something different, unless he really matures mentally in the next few months, he doesn't look like the type of horse that's going to win the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, 85 buyer for Paladin. Renegade gets an 82. Balboa gets an 80. Just quickly on Balboa, 30-1 in this spot. A horse that we both mentioned. This was a horse that left the Bob Baffert barn after being pretty hyped by Not This Time. It was one of the best sires in the world right now. Goes to the Brittany Russell barn, wins at Aqueduct going 6, stretches out to a 1.8 miles here. I thought this was a useful race. Kind of just got tired at the end. Maybe needed a little more stamina built up to be able to actually get the 1.8 mile distance here. What was your take on Balboa?
Yeah, it was interesting. We mentioned maybe, did Bob Baffert give up on this horse a little bit too early because he went to Brittany Russell from the Baffert barn. That's usually they give up on horses when that happens. And ran really well at Laurel, and I thought, that was pretty good. I didn't really know what to expect. I thought he was decent in this race. I don't know. I'm with you. It's like out of the top 4, I don't know if Balboa will ultimately make it to the Derby, but I would love to see him in a race like the Jerome, which is coming up on January 3rd at Aqueduct, which is at a mile. If he gets out in front in that race, going a mile, I think he can win it. And then all of a sudden, we may not think he's a Derby horse, but guess what? He's got points to make a serious run at it. So I kind of like him in some of the lesser races on the Derby trail moving forward.
Yeah, Pat Day mile horse. Just circle it now. Yeah. That's where this horse fits very well. The interesting part about the Aqueduct Triple Crown series, unlike most series where you gather points in a specific circuit and you build up to the longer distances, Aqueduct kind of just bobs and weaves. We go a mile and an eighth, then down to a mile, then we stretch to a mile and 16th, I believe it is. Maybe it's back to a mile and an eighth. But you have this very nonlinear distances that you run inside the Triple Crown preps at Aqueduct can often make it difficult to handicap exactly how good that field is going to be. I think Balboa does improve cutting back, which is what we're going to see in the Jerome, as you mentioned, early January there. You also mentioned probably more impressive 3-year-old was Zany, who dominated the Demoiselle as your favorite in that spot. I thought she was awesome. We talked about this horse last Thursday. She seems to just be the best version of what we've got right now in these 2-year-old fillies, and she looked great handling the mile and an eighth. That was absolutely not a problem for her. Ran away from the crowd in the stretch. I thought Zany was very good on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like I said, a half second faster than the boys, and we're sitting here thinking the boys was a pretty good race. Well, this was a faster race. I think this is the favorite for the Kentucky Oaks as of right now. Of course, that's what is that saying in December? We're going all the way to May. Who knows what's going to happen with that division? But that was the kind of race. It's like, yeah, that's the best thing I've seen so far from this group. Did everything so professionally as well. And look, we both tried to take shots against her. Did you pick her? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I swallowed the chalk.
I was the only idiot on this show that tried to go against her. And I just was skeptical going from that sprint race to a mile and an eighth. And honestly, she looked better in this race, in my opinion, the further they went. And I thought, okay, that was a really dumb decision because she just looked stronger and stronger as they hit the wire. She was just, she left those other horses in the dust. I don't know how good those other horses are. Surely she's going to face better, but that was a very, very dominant performance. She did everything the right way as well.
Yeah, she did. She was able to stalk and win, did not need the lead, never looked like a loser, just completely under control. Now, I'm not sure how good this field was, but you only can beat what's in front of you, and she beat them into a pulp, winning by 8+ lengths. Good buyer, able to stretch out with no problem off a 6.5 furlong effort, showed tactical speed, passed horses, pretty much checked every possible box that you could want for an Oaks contender.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And like I said, it's hard for me to say, well, she didn't beat much when I didn't pick her to begin with, right? So obviously she beat a couple horses that I thought might be decent. So look, you talked about with Paladin, like, his first race, he got the perfect trip. In this race, he kind of got an education. Eventually, Zany's going to have to show us something other than just the perfect trip. But the one thing we always talk about on this show, the trip that is the hardest to kind of mess up or get in trouble with is when you've got tactical speed. But you don't have to have the front. You aren't headstrong. You're just naturally fast. And when you break well and you're naturally fast, you get ahead of 80% of the horses, right? And so then that trip becomes, it's hard to get a poor trip. And that's what she's shown in both of her efforts so far. So, there will be a day where she's going to have to do a little bit more than just, boom, here's a perfect spot, and we go win. But she's kind of, just seems like right now, a horse that's checking the boxes. So I'm with you. I think for the Kentucky Oaks right now, this is the horse that's on everybody's radar.
Now, going from the 2-year-olds to the older horses here, and we also had the Cigar Mile. We talked about that last Thursday. Bishop's Bay wins that race. No surprise there, fairly short price. But a horse a lot of people are talking about ran a mile earlier on the card in the 7th at Saturday. The number 6 horse in this case, Life in Times, one of your best bets, a horse that I faded, because I always fade these type of horses. But this one was awesome. Life in Times, who debuted at 4 at 11-1, got the win for Pletcher, comes back here in an N1X allowance, and absolutely dominates again, wins by 6+ lengths, gets 100 buyer, kind of establishing that 104 in the maiden was not a complete fluke. And they're talking about big things for Life in Times here, who, again, did not make it to the racetrack until 2 races ago at 4, going to be 5 when we get into January of next year. Very older debuting horse, still looks like a ton of talent, though.
Yeah, and to be fair to you, when they hit the top of the stretch, I was pretty worried because your whole thing, and it was, hey, the trip's going to be a lot different, and he's not going to be able to walk on the lead and this and that. And really, what you handicapped actually did play out, and just the kind of the deciding factor was he's actually just really good. He in off one race, you don't know if a horse is trip dependent or not. And again, I'm not going to sit here and criticize you. You try to take a shot against 3-5 shot that sometimes those horses run eighth when they come back and get that kind of trip that he got. But he kicked on. He wins very easily, was the ending of the story. And I wouldn't have put it on here, but I read a big article about this horse and quotes from Todd Pletcher, basically, just thanking the owners of this horse for being patient because they could have rushed him and maybe got him to the racetrack, but he never had like huge problems, but it was just little physical issues that came up, and they waited and they were patient. And now the horse, knock on wood, is healthy. And they're talking about the Pegasus World Cup now for this horse, maybe being the next start, which just kind of shows how serious of a horse they think he is. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully the patience pays off and you can see a 5 or 6 race run from this horse. Maybe he can't win the Pegasus. I don't know if he can or not. We'll see in January when that gets here. But he's obviously a serious horse that's got talent, so hopefully we could see it kind of come to light. But 2 really good races in a row. And you were right. This race was extremely different. He took pressure. They were going faster, and he still was able to win. So that was very impressive.
Yeah, I'd file under things I would have liked to know before the race, that the Pegasus was even close to on the table, because that tells you the upward talent that they believe that this horse has. Again, I'm never going to bet on horses that were 11-1 on debut, late in the 4-year-old season, had trouble getting to the track, and then face winners for the first time, and you're getting 3-5. That's just not my style of a horse. Life and Times was able to take all of that and more here, holding off multiple winners down the stretch as well, actually running away from them. Dreamlike ends up running second in this spot. So you got to give the horse credit. The idea of going to the Pegasus, again, with a horse that was in the Todd Pletcher barn, that debuts at 4 at 11-1. Todd Pletcher, one of the, in New York especially, one of the most overbet trainers, especially with debuting horses. They talk about these horses a lot. You're rarely going to have one go to the track that people don't know about. 11-1 is a crazy price. People did not know about this horse. Now 3 races later, maybe in the Pegasus is a crazy, crazy story, especially for a almost 5-year-old on debut. Going to be in the Pegasus 3 starts later. Fun horse to follow with Life and Times. We'll see what that upside is there and where we head to next for the son of Justify, who, by the way, is gelded. Why does that matter? This horse could run for a while because there are going to be no babies. There is no breeding stall. You don't have a progeny. That means that you make your money on the track. So we'll see what happens with Life and Times moving forward. All right, Aaron, special place in your heart here. Oaklawn returns on Friday. I cannot wait for the turf racing at this meet. Tell us your favorite things about Oaklawn Park.
Oh, how long's this show? Let's sit down. Let's get a cup of coffee and let's really talk about it. Now, look, be serious. Oaklawn is the reason I'm into horse racing. My first ever horse race I ever attended was the 2007 Arkansas Derby at Oaklawn Park. I always tell this story. I did not want to go. My dad kind of forced me to go. He needed somebody to go with that day, and I was like, fine, I'll go to this thing, and it was awesome. Curlin won the Arkansas Derby that day. I fell in love with Curlin, but I also fell in love with horse racing and Oaklawn Park. It's such a great place. It's just a 1-mile dirt track. There isn't a turf course, which is why the guy here with me doesn't really like Oaklawn as much as I do. But it's a great place. It is Saratoga of the South. That's the best way I could describe it to you. It is a horse racing town. Everybody in Hot Springs, Arkansas knows what Oaklawn is. They're going to Oaklawn. You go out in the morning to breakfast. Everybody's got the racing for them. They're talking about racing. That's the thing I like the most about it. And it's just home for me. I've seen so many good horses. American Pharoah, of course, the first Triple Crown winner in 37 years. He prepped right there at Oaklawn Park as well. I just love it. You could see great horses there. You see great racing there. It's like I said, pound for pound in the winter, Oaklawn Park is the place to be.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal racetrack and a great city. To me, that's the thing with Saratoga, with Oaklawn, with Keeneland, even Del Mar, not to the same extent, but still still similar, where horse racing is the number one draw. That is why people are there when that meet is going on, and so everyone is talking about it. It is just ever present when you're walking around the town. You'll see the horse racing banners. Oaklawn, to me, so first off, you're right. There is no turf racing. I always joke about it. That's why I led with the joke there. It is one of the reasons I don't love the racetrack. The other, and this is just being like completely transparent as a handicapper, I think Oaklawn Park is one of the hardest tracks to handicap if you do not watch it day in and day out. Yep. If you do not handicap every single race, some of those Archie bred races are a nightmare. That for me specifically, I just really struggle with some of them. I also think it is a speed favoring track, so you have to have a certain style of handicapping if you're trying to be successful at Oaklawn Park. So if you're going to play Oaklawn, pay attention to Oaklawn. Make sure you watch the races when the day's over, even if you didn't bet it, so you see what the track is playing like, how it's playing before and after a rainstorm, because you're going to get rain during the meet as well. And all these little nuances of the racetrack make a difference at Oaklawn. And then the Archie Breds, just get your dartboard out and start throwing.
Listen, even if you watch it day in and day out, Oaklawn Park is the toughest track in the country, in my opinion. I really believe that. I think even like Kentucky Downs sometimes is easier to figure out than Oaklawn Park. It's just a different place. It's very quirky place for sure. I'm with you though. It's tough. I remember when I finally branched out, I was like, all right, let's look at other tracks. The first 2 weeks of doing a different track, I was like, this shit is easy. Like, I could do this compared to Oaklawn. So, no, it's tough, but it's also very rewarding. When you get one right, it really, really pays. So, it is tough. It's a very tough track, no doubt about it.
Yeah, there have been some fun pick 5 days at Oaklawn because if you string them together, it makes a difference. Oaklawn, good NHC track as well because you do get prices there, so not a bad place to take a shot at. Now, we also have Santa Anita that we're going to start talking about here. We've got the Beat Somich contest that's coming up toward the end of the month. We had our first Beat Somich contest last weekend. Congratulations to the 184 people that were able to defeat me. There were 5 favorites that won. We talked about this. If favorites win, Mike doesn't usually do very well. So all 184 people get about $30, splitting up the $5,000 that was up for grabs. We're going to run that back at Santa Anita toward the end of the month. If you did enter the contest and you did beat me and you would like your $30 but don't have an ExpressBet account, make sure you sign up right away. You have 1 week to claim that prize. Today is Thursday. The contest was last Saturday. Quick math. You've got 2 days to get an ExpressBet account. Sign up. Shoot them an email. Say, hey, I beat Mike Somich. Where's my $30? So make sure you do that if you do not have an account already. Again, we'll run that back in December from Santa Anita. And on that note, what do you look for when you're looking at betting Santa Anita, a track that we're going to see, a downhill turf course, a turf course that's more of the flat track? We've got the dirt course going on, and we'll see a lot of debuting 2-year-olds into the 3-year-old season as well that may matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always joke, I said Christmas Day for horse players, that's December 26th. We don't care about December 25th because opening day of Santa Anita is kind of the restart of the new year. December 26th is always a great day. I look forward to it almost as much as any day of the year. It's so much fun. As far as Santa Anita goes, speed. That's what you want at that track 99 times out of 100, especially on the dirt. You got to be for early place. It's really hard to come from behind. And if you do see a horse come from behind, I'm thinking about journalism. That means they're really good if they're winning from off the pace. So it's Bob Baffert's playground. That's another thing. Sometimes you just got to choke down his horses at a short price because he's going to win a lot of races, especially with those 2-year-olds that will turn 3 January 1st. So watch out for them. Look out for his debuters. He's got some bullets in the chamber for Santa Anita for sure. So speed on the dirt track is the main thing. And when you're playing those downhill races, I should say, just look for the horses that have form over that. And if that is such a different situation when they're running down the hill, it's one of the coolest things in all of racing. I don't think, if you've never experienced a live downhill race, it truly is unique. Kind of gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It's such a cool view as those horses are literally running down a hill. They're way off in the distance. It's like, man, that's wild. But look for horses that have form on that course, because it truly is different than anything you're going to handicap.
Yeah, so they did down the hill race course. Santa Anita is literally built in between a freeway and a hill, right? And so if you go to the racetrack and you're sitting in the grandstands, you look off in the distance, there is a second turf track that goes down that little hill and then over the dirt course and then back onto the inner turf course that is set up over the regular racetrack. And you can actually see the horses running down the hill because they're elevated to where the regular racetrack is. Very unique experience. Pro tip. Santa Anita might not want me to say this, but if you park in the back parking lot by the infield, the gate is always up there at the top of the hill. So if you would like a picture opportunity in the Santa Anita gate, You may be able to run really quickly on the racetrack, take the photo, and then get out the exit before anyone rolls up on you in a golf cart. Maybe have done that before. But it's a lot of fun there at Santa Anita. I love that down the hill course. Very unique course. I agree with you. You want to look for horses that have generally been able to handle that course. Hard to come from way back in the clouds when you're going down the hill as well. Also unique thing, the outside post is actually the inside post for the first turn because the down the hill is not straight down the hill. There's a little bit of a right turn that's built in there, and then you turn back to the left. So post position, the inside, not necessarily the best ground-saving trip, which is a little not what you would expect when you look at those post positions. So keep an eye on that as well. I concur with Aaron. Speed, very important. Also, don't assume the favorite in short fields is going to win at Santa Anita. You get some interesting results there in 5 and 6 horse fields that can often balloon your pick 4s and pick 5s. Last thing, inside matters on the going 1 mile. You're going to see them like a lot of 5, 6, 7, 8 horse fields going a mile at Santa Anita. Inside speed is very important because you do not want to be hung 3, 4 wide on that first turn going a mile. It is a death trip there at Santa Anita. Very, very difficult to win when that happens to you. Now, if you're looking to bet Santa Anita or you're looking to bet any of the races that we're about to preview, including the Tropical Park Oaks and Derby, make sure you head over to firstbet.com as the official horse racing partner of VSiN. First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet. It's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that provide data-driven insights to help you make smarter bets. First Bet's in-app tools give you win, place, and show probabilities for each runner so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time $250 sign-up bonus. All you've got to do is head over to firstbet.com or the First Bet app to claim your bonus. Use promo code VSiN250 when you sign up with a new account. That is VSiN, VSIN 250 over at First Bet or firstbet.com, the number one, STBET.com. If you beat me and didn't sign up for an account yet, I'm talking to like 100 people here, go get your free $30. Don't give the money back to ExpressBet there. Take advantage of that. We'll have another Beat Somich contest coming up shortly here, Aaron. They also have the video in the app, which I love. I love the fact that you can just watch the horse races no matter where you are. So make sure you check out firstbet.com. All right, let's head down to Gulfstream Park in Florida, just outside of Miami. We've got the Tropical Park Oaks as well as the Tropical Park Derby coming up on Saturday. Fun races over the turf course for fillies and for colts 3 years old. We'll start with the fillies here in the Oaks going a mile and 16th over that turf course. This is race number 8 on Saturday, and what I thought was an absolutely wide open race. Huge fields here. 14 horses draw for both of them. We'll have 12 of those in the actual field. Lot of different directions you can go here. One of those interesting races when you do look at the projected favoritisms is we don't have the morning lines here. I was surprised that we have a horse who was relatively short in this spot. But we'll start out with you, Aaron. Who do you like here in the Gulfstream Park Oaks?
Yeah, this is a really good race. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in this one. And I'm going to go to the number 3 horse and one more time in this spot. I really like a couple of things about the horse. First of all, this is a horse as a 2-year-old was broke the maiden at Saratoga on the dirt of all things, and then went to the turf in the Natalma, which is a grade 1 race at Woodbine, a really tough race year in, year out. And one more time won the race. We didn't see him for a year, or for her, I should say, for a year, comes back, wins an allowance at Woodbine, and I thought was pretty darn good for having that much time off. And now we're in this spot. So maybe it's one race too soon. Maybe she needs one more before we see her come back to her absolute best. But this is a horse that's won 3 really good races in a row. I really like her in the spot. I also like the running style. You know, I think can get out towards the front. I'm not sure if gets the lead in this spot, but I do think gets an inside trip, kind of just stalking the leaders in second or third. Kind of gets, I think can outrun the 1 and the 2. So kind of get that rail and get to kind of that rail and sit right there in a perfect spot. So I went to the number 3 and one more time on top in this spot. Who knows what the prices are going to be? I thought you mentioned it. We don't really know that yet. I'm guessing this is going to be 3, 4, 5 to 1 type of horse. So give me the number 3 and one more time on top.
Yeah, I was thinking him one more time, probably around 4-1 in this spot. I was surprised that the projected odds have Destino d'Oro, the 4-horse, at 9-5. I thought that was way too short. I don't think anyone should be 9-5 inside of this field. I had in one more time in second, so I agree with you. I thought the path at 2, very interesting here. Mark Casse debuts at 2, going very short on dirt over at Churchill Downs. Heads over to Saratoga to try and get on turf. The race gets rained off turf. Wins the race, yet still, and a lot of times when a horse gets rained off turf and wins a race, you'll see the horse come back on dirt. Instead, Casse sends this horse to the Grade 1 Natalmo, which you mentioned, wins that race at 16-1, has some time off because of an injury, comes back and looked impressive last time at Woodbine. I'm worried you might need one more race. That, to me, was the biggest issue here. Should be forwardly placed on a turf course that has really favored speed. We've seen speed do very well. Now, there was rain at Gulfstream on Monday. We'll see if that changes how the turf course plays here. But as of now, speed's been good, and one more time will be forward. I'm going to go to what is projecting to be a price right to the inside here. Give me Super Willy Wow, the number 2 horse. She's a daughter of Hard Spun by Smart Striking. She's been a little bit all over the place. Debuted at Gulfstream and on the synthetic, then ran on the turf there. Has been consistently getting better in each of her races. Took a break after running on my birthday, June 20th, and breaking the maiden. Came back at Laurel Park on October 24th. I thought was a impressive winner there. Now takes one more step forward into stakes company. This is a horse that just keeps getting better, and I think actually makes the lead in this spot. I think this is your horse who gets to the front, and I want the speed horse at Gulfstream Park, especially when projected to be a price. Right now, Super Willy Wow, 15-1. Is the projected morning line. If I get anywhere near 15-1, sign me up. I think this horse has a huge shot to be able to take this field gate to wire. So I'm going to go with the 2, Super Willy Wow. I'm trying to say that as many times so I get it right. Aaron going with the number 3 and one more time. Did you look at Super Willy Wow at all? And what were your thoughts on Destino d'Oro, who projects to be your favorite?
It's so funny because as I handicap this, we know each other really well. Obviously, by now working together, we're almost 8 years together. I'd say in total. Yeah, I know, right? I didn't know that you would pick this horse on top, but I knew you would use the horse, mention the horse in this segment. So, yeah, this is a Mike Somich turf horse, and you've been so successful with these over the past. And, yeah, it's a horse. I'm with you. Like, I think the 2 is going to get out in front. And I think, at Gulfstream especially, you could see this horse go gate to wire. I'm with you as well. I have this horse in 4th. I would imagine this horse will be on my tickets as well. I don't know how deep he'll be able to go. We don't have the odds yet, and that's going to make that decision for me about how deep you can go in that race. But I do think the 2 makes a lot of sense. Get out in front, try to take him gate to wire. I think it's worked the last 2 times. I think it can work again. Another horse coming second off the layoff, just like the 3 and one more time. The only difference is there wasn't that year gap, right? There was just a few months, and so I do think the 2 could be a little bit more ready for the big race right here in this spot where there is more question mark with the 3. I agree with that point. You talked about Destino d'Oro. Yeah, I don't really ultimately know who will be favored in the race. I'm with you. I don't think 9-5 is realistic on that horse. This is kind of the class of the field. The only problem I kind of had with this horse, last time out at Keeneland really wasn't competitive, but it was a Grade 1. Kentucky Downs really wasn't competitive. It's Kentucky Downs. That was a long-distance race. The wins, there was a win at Ellis in the pucker up. That was okay. I thought she ran well there. I don't think that field was all that great, though. I think this field's tougher. I don't want to play her at a real short price. So if she is 3 or 4-1, I think that makes sense. If she is 9-5, 2-1, it's just not for me. I didn't like the last race at all. I know it was a tougher race. I didn't think picked up her feet much in that one. So not really for me, to be quite honest with you. I did kind of think about for a long time the number 5 Mischief in Motion. This was a horse I think I'll use on a ticket as well. Coming off of a second place effort right here at Gulfstream Park in October. This is a nice horse. This is a really nice horse as well. I think it's another one. I don't think he'll get the lead, but could be sitting right there with the 3 and one more time, kind of stalking the pace. So I thought the forwardly placed, kind of look of the 5 makes this horse a little bit dangerous as well. I hope we get a decent price on this one. We're looking at the same 8-1 projected morning line odds. That would be okay with me.
Yeah, Destino d'Oro, my biggest issue. This horse is slow early. I'm not sure mile 16th at Gulfstream Park specifically is the right track for this horse. Did win in a mile 16th, but that was at Keeneland, where you can definitely close. Gulfstream Park makes it a little more difficult the last couple races, mile and an eighth, mile and 3/16, mile and an eighth. All of those was a little more forward, but if you go to the mile and 16th, at Churchill was 10 lengths back, at Keeneland was 5 lengths back. I don't really want a horse that's going to be that far back here at Gulfstream Park. I think Mischief in Motion's interesting. Another speed play there. We'll see what the trip is like. The buyers need to improve. I do want to mention a couple others here because I think there's some interesting prices. Let's go to Super Zonda. This is a horse that has only touched the turf twice, has won both times on turf, including winning here at Gulfstream Park, has run twice on the synthetic. Clearly not a good synthetic horse, but you look at that race 2 back at Woodbine on the turf, fits there. Right to the outside of that horse, a horse named It Ain't Two. Another one that I think is interesting here, this is a Riley Mott trainee that has been running in graded stakes in the last 3, has shipped all over the place, but yet to run here at Gulfstream Park. Another horse that has a little bit of forward pace that I think could make a little bit of an interesting long shot play here. And then to the outside of that horse, Super Speed, coming in from California, switching from the Sadler Barn to Brian Lynch. A horse that has good enough numbers in California, including the high buyer of anyone in this field. However, that was on dirt in a graded stakes, not on turf. Another kind of wild card when you jump in here. Any of those 3 interesting to you?
The 10 Super Speed does have me a little bit interesting. It's odd that this horse is on the turf. Those 2 races on the dirt, the last 2, one was the Ashland, a grade 1 race. That is what it is. But that race 2 back in the San Isabel was really good. And so I kind of thought dirt would be the thing. This horse does have nice turf numbers, though, does have a couple of nice turf wins. So, I guess if you're sending it to Lynch, they're probably going back to the turf. So, I guess that was the plan. This horse has talent. I went back and watched the Santa Isabella because I didn't remember that race. I went back and was like, that was a pretty good effort. I see why they tried the Ashland next out of that. Has talent. We'll see what happens. I'm with you. Can the horse grow up a little bit too? Haven't seen her since April. Maybe she's going to kind of grow up a little bit between now and then, and we see something pretty decent here. I think she's a good wild card horse, and depending on the price, I think it's a good horse to play.
Yeah, Daughter of Justify has closed on the turf before, but has tactical speed. One of those horses that we talk about all the time that has a couple different ways to win. We'll see if Super Speed able to get the job done here in the Tropical Park Oaks. Number 2, Super Willy Wah for me. Number 3, and one more time for Aaron. Let's fast forward 3 races on the card here. Race number 11, Gulfstream Park, the Tropical Park Derby. $125,000 for the boys this time. Going a mile and a 16th. Over the turf course. Another full field here as we've got 13 signed on. 12 of them will have postward, 1 other also eligible. This time looks like a pretty even race again. The number 7, Chapman's Peak, projected to be your morning line favorite. Actually is your morning line favorite as those have just come out at 5-2 for Brad Cox. Where are you going on top here?
Yeah, I can't quit the number 7 Chapman's Peak. I'm going to go with him again.
I knew you wouldn't.
I know. And look, I played this horse a lot. And the last, the race 3 back and 2 back, we finally got a couple of wins. Broke the maiden at Kentucky Downs, came right back and won an allowance race at Keeneland. And I thought ran really well last time out in the Commonwealth. Was almost 5-1 and got beat less than really a nose or a neck, however you want to call it. So I'm going to go right back to Chapman's Peak in the spot. I think it's a really good race to run in after that race in the Commonwealth where I thought he was pretty darn good. So I'm going with him again. I also really like, we talked about it when we were analyzing Gulfstream. We thought Tyler Gaffleon is going to be a jockey that's going to have success. He gets a board here. This horse had Irad Ortiz the last 3 races when the horse really woke up and was running well, and now gets Gaffleon. I think that's pretty good as well. Irad's not here this weekend, so to me, I think Chapman's Peak looks really good in this spot. So I'm going with him once again today.
For a 3-year-old race, we rarely have as many horses as we've discussed that are in this race. We've talked about Tiz Dashing. We've talked about Church and State. We've talked about Day and Age. We've talked about the 7 Chapman's Peak. So a pretty interesting, and really the 8 Simulate, who I picked 2 races back in the Nashville Derby as well. A lot of horses that we've discussed here. I'm going to go to someone that we have not talked about yet. Give me the number 6 Layabout here, 10-1 on the morning line. Lost to Super Forces last time, who is also in this race. That was a trip that I thought was absolutely brutal for Layabout, who was in the 11 post of 11 horses that day, was forwardly placed 3 wide the entire trip. I thought ran really well to hang on to second place in that situation when you're just up against it. That comes out of running in the gun runner, where I thought this was a very good fourth against Palenza and Giacosa, who came back to win out of that race. Now we're getting a little bit lighter of a group with a trip that I think projects to be a lot better for Layabout. Doesn't need the lead. We saw this horse pass horses last time and then get caught. Should have a bunch of speed, tank to the outside, day and age, 2 very fast horses. I think Layabout sits a great trip right behind him, and the price is absolutely right. I'm shocked that the morning line came out at 10-1 on this horse. I was thinking we were going to get something more of the 5 to 6-1 range, but here we are sitting at 10-1 on the number 6 Layabout. So that's going to be my top pick here at a little bit of a price. A horse that we know likes Gulfstream as well, 2 for 3 over this turf course, Aaron.
Yeah, I like this one as well. I had the horse in third. I do have Tiz Dashing in second, but I Layabout in third. And I kind of saw the same things you did with this one. I think the trip's going to be pretty good. I think he can, as long as he breaks well, I think he can get out ahead of most of them here and have a really nice trip, maybe even on the front end. Those 3 wins in a row were all really good. And like you said, 2 of them came here at Gulfstream Park. Went to Kentucky Downs, I thought ran exceptionally well. I know it was a 4th place effort. It was a $2 million race. And it's like, at that time, that was a huge jump up in class for this horse compared to where he had been. And then last time out, I think, look, broke way outside like you were talking and really ran pretty well considering the trip that day. So I'm with you. I thought this horse was one you really had to take a look at. I mentioned I did have Tiz Dashing in third. This is another one. Last time out at Aqueduct, coming off a little bit of a layoff, I thought ran really well. I think projects well for this race. I thought this was a pretty good spot for this horse to run in. I think the only problem is we've seen this horse at big prices, and now we're going to have to swallow a little bit short of a price. 7-2 on the morning line, I think he'll go off around there. So that's not that appealing, but I did think the last race was really good. I liked how the horse could just stalk the pace and get the job done late. And again, another horse that kind of projects like the 3 in the 8th race that we talked about, can get out in front of a lot of horses, can kind of sit on that inside trip. We talk about it all the time. You don't want to be hung wide on these turf races when you're kind of up towards the front. I think this one can sit a pretty good inside trip, kind of that pocket trip, and then make the move. So, 7-3-6. Honestly, I didn't love a lot else in this race. You talked about the 8 Simulate. How mad are you going to be if he wins here? Because he really hasn't ran well the last couple of races, but maybe this is the class that fits him. The 11 Tank is a horse you didn't mention. We talked about him a lot. How mad are you going to be if he goes gate to wire after kind of chasing him a little bit as well? So there's some kind of a boulevard of broken dream horses for us in this race that I'm staying away from this time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Tank to go gate to wire from the 11, so I'm not as concerned about him. Simulate, I still think has talent. Yeah. We've seen the horse run very well, 3 and 4 back. The last 2 just been brutal. The Nashville Derby didn't pick up a feat at all, and the Bryant Station, this horse, I think the trouble early kind of decided this horse's race, but it's hard for me to chase back, even getting 12-1. Here on Simulate, the 8 horse. I do think the 12 Super Force is a little interesting. Worried about the style, but the showing up the last race at Gulfstream Park, which Layabout ran second, the horse I'm picking on top here. I'm not a big times guy. That is a scorching time. They went 1 mile and a 16th in 1:38 and change. Like that, you're supposed to go 1 mile in 1:36. They almost ran the extra mile and 16th in that 1:08 to 6 furlongs. And still were able to run sub 6 seconds through the rest of the race. I mean, that is a really, really fast race. And for this horse to close into it, I think is a positive for Layabout to be able to stay on, I think is impressive, especially considering that horse was 3 wide. It's why it's my top pick here, 10-1. I wouldn't be shocked if those 2 were both very serious horses.
Yeah, I thought it was a good race. I went back and watched that one, obviously. And I was with you. I was more impressed by the 6 than the 12. But, you mentioned times. One reason why I look at times, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't look at times. One reason I don't take them all that seriously is a lot of times they're not accurate, especially at Gulfstream. So it's I get it. And it can't be the most relevant data point, but it is still a data point. And look, maybe that was an accurate time. You can't really always trust them. But I'm with you. And I think it's funny. We both watched that race back and we're more impressed with the second place horse. But maybe we're overthinking it. And this 12, who is 3 for 3, maybe he's just really good. So we'll see what happens here. If you like him, I'm certainly not going to talk you off of him.
That's race number 11 from Gulfstream Park on Saturday, the Tropical Park Derby. Number 6, layabout for me at 10-1. Number 7, Tropical Park for Aaron at 7-2. Before we jump into our final 2 stakes races previews of the weekend, let's talk a little bit about the VSiN College Football Betting Guide. It's playoff time. We both have our teams in. Miami, rightfully, put in over Notre Dame. Oklahoma, probably lucky to be in the college football playoff, but we can talk about that a little bit later. If you're looking for the inside track on betting the college football playoff, make sure you check out VSiN's College Football Guide. You'll get full previews of every first round game, college football overview and insider breakdowns, best bets, and custom brackets from VSiN experts. I filled mine out. I can tell you the picks at the end. Steve McAdam's power rankings, as well as bowl picks across all of the VSiN networks. You can buy the guide right now for just $14.99, or upgrade to VSiN Pro and get the guide included, plus full access to daily best bets, real-time betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Get your guide now at vsin.com/CFP. That's VSIN.com/CFP. Just $14.99 there for the college football betting guide. All right, Aaron, let's head to your favorite place in the world, Oaklawn Park, for the Ring the Bell on Saturday, race number 8, going 6 furlongs over the dirt. We've got some old friends. Not just you that loves Oaklawn Park. Number 4, Scully loves Oaklawn Park. 10 for 12 over this racetrack. Banishing back for more. 5 for 5 in the Exacta as well. And we can't forget about our boy Roll On Big Joe. Never run at Oaklawn Park, but is your 2-1 morning line favorite. Who you got here, Aaron?
Well, is Skelly officially just, hey, he's at Oaklawn, but he still can't win? It just feels like he might be a little spent. But look, last year his 2 wins, this year I should say, his 2 wins did come right here at Oaklawn back in April and May. I'm going to go against him. Fun fact, I've never picked against Skelly at Oaklawn, and I've never picked him outside of Oaklawn. I was looking back at all the races, so I'm going against him here. I'm going to go number 7, Banishing, on top in this spot. To me, he's the class of the field. He runs like every 2 weeks, so there's going to be a time where he maybe gets tired. I don't know that it'll be today, though. I love one big key that we talked about. Luis Saez is riding at Oaklawn, and I think he's going to have a great meet. I think he's going to win the meet if he stays there the whole time. And he jumps aboard, and I thought that was a really good sign. Luis Saez was on Skelly last couple of times, really, and now is on Banishing. So I thought that was a very good sign. So I'm going to go number 7, Banishing. I think he's the class of the field. I think he sits a good trip as well. We know kind of Skelly's going to go to the front. I think Banishing can sit in this field second, third, just kind of sit there and then be very tough to hold off. So give me number 7, Banishing on top.
Good pick. I like Banishing here, too. This is one of the few times that we've agreed on some of these horses here. And this, to me, I respect the heck out of Scully. Mentioned 10 for 12 at Oaklawn. Loves the racetrack. Love Roll On Big Joe. Very good horse. There's a lot of speed in here. And Banishing is going to be able to sit the trip. And to me, this is a trip-based handicap where I think that you're going to get the 3 horses who are all very good. What separates them is how they're actually going to run the race. 2 of them are going to be forward. 1 of them is going to be sitting right behind and be able to pounce. I think that trip specifically is what has allowed Banishing to be able to get the job done. This is a horse that's run longer, has run shorter, has kind of done a little bit of everything. Heads back to the David Jacobson barn. I mentioned 3 for 5 at Oaklawn, 2 for 3 at the distance. So not a problem being able to handle the 6 furlong distance or the racetrack here. So 7 Banishing for me as well. I did almost pick Roll On Big Joe, who is the 6th horse here, also cross-entered at Turfway Park, another racetrack, very hard to handicap, on December 20, on the 13th. So we'll have to keep an eye on whether or not the Roll On Big Joe is going to be here or there. But if Roll On Big Joe does show up in this spot, I think is a serious threat to try and take this field. Maybe not gate to wire because of Scully, but sit right outside of Scully and be able to have a big shot down the lane.
Yeah, it'd be weird for him to run at Turfway and not here at Oaklawn when you look at where's the synthetic form, So I think he'll be here. I'm with you. Like he's obviously very good, and I think it's a horse that makes a ton of sense. You're going to go with him. I think that. I understand. I understand that completely. One horse I wanted to mention, the number 3 Teano Twist. There was a time where this horse was just super good, especially right here at Oaklawn, and did win the King Cotton back in January here at Oaklawn as well. So kind of has fallen off form a little bit, but, it hasn't ran since May. If Hartman, who points for this, especially early in the year, these Hartman horses run well at Oaklawn, if he's kind of got him back to his better form, that may be a longer shot to take a look at here because that horse at one time was really, really tough to beat right here at Oaklawn.
I'm not going to give you credit for a longer shot. Teano Twist is 9-2. You can't say it's a longer shot you want to look at. You want to look at a longer shot.
Okay.
Give me the 5. 20-1 here on the morning line. Ghost of Midnight. Look, I like the idea behind Teano Twist. Mm-hmm. Mention the speed of Scully. Mention the speed of Roll on Big Joe. Well, the 1 second ID and the 2 Durante also have quite a bit of speed here and going to be pushing the pace. The 2 horses that benefit a lot from that are Teano Twist, the 3, and the 5 Ghost of Midnight. Claimed in back-to-back races out in California. Now ships across the country for this spot. Going to be rolling late. I'm not good enough to win. Good enough to finish 3rd. At 20-1, that can make a difference inside the trifecta pricing. If I'm going to take a shot with a price underneath, it's the 5 Ghost of Midnight.
Interesting horse. I remember betting on this horse a lot out at Santa Anita when he was with Mark Glatt, and when I looked through this race, I was like, Ghost of Midnight. I know that horse, but that horse shouldn't be at Oaklawn. And then I looked and I was like, he got claimed. I didn't realize that he was in for the tag on those races. So, yeah, I think he's a little outclassed here, but it's not. It wouldn't just be a shock if he hits the board. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find some, if we're both taking a 3-1, you got to find a little bit of value to insert underneath, and Ghost of Midnight here, one of the longest prices in the Ring the Bell, race number 8 from Oaklawn Park Saturday card. Number 7, banishing for Aaron. Number 7, banishing for me. Before we get into our best bets, let's cover one more race. This is race number 8, Los Alamitos race course, the Los Alamitos Futurity, 1 mile and 1/16 around this quirky dirt track. 10 points on the line for the Kentucky Derby. This is basically the Bob Baffert Invitational every single year, and it is very similar this year as we have 6 horses heading postward. 3 of those 6 going to be Bob Baffert horses. So instead of asking you who's going to win, because I think I know who you're going to pick, and it's probably who I'm going to pick, how many Baffert horses finish in the top 3, Aaron?
Probably 2 of the 3, I would think. I think the 3 and the 4 finish in the top 3. And honestly, if this wasn't a Kentucky Derby prep race, we wouldn't be covering it, right? But you just kind of feel like you should cover it. But
yes,
this ain't great. And look, journalism won this race last year, okay? And so sometimes it can be really good. This isn't. This is bad.
Not the best running of this race. Number 3 litmus test for me. No surprise there. Faced Ted Nafi the last 2 times. Ran 3rd and 4th. This is a serious drop in class, considering who else is going to be in here. You mentioned Blacksmith, probably your main contender for Bob Baffert, the number 4 horse. Interesting horse. Never run 2 turns. A lot of question marks in my mind. You don't get the top jock and Hernandez aboard for Baffert. To me, you build tickets around litmus test. It looks like a clear winner here, and you go, okay, I'm going to play cold exactas, cold trifectas, and I'm going to choose how to round those out. Are you in agreement with me there, Aaron?
Yeah, litmus test for me, the 3 horse. I thought Acknowledge Me Please, the 1 horse, was the other one that was kind of interesting in here that's not a Baffert. Really nice win last time out for Doug O'Neill. Doug O'Neill's a guy that could jump up and win races like this, but really not bred to go 2 turns, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, to me, it's litmus test because Hernandez has been on the 2 and the 4, and he chose the 3, so that's pretty telltale sign. And you're right, with such a big class drop, this just feels to me like Baffert's like, we can win this one with litmus test. Let's get him a win. We threw him to the wolves 3 straight races. Let's get him a win, and that's just what it looks like to me.
I really wish that there was like a 7th horse who didn't stink and could close, because I would pick that horse if that horse existed. Acknowledge Me Please on the rail, speed on speed. Prevenance, the number 2, speed on speed. Litmus test, wants to be up front. Blacksmith, speed. American King, just not good, but is coming from off the pace, but not good. Captivator, speed. This is like begging to fall apart. going a mile and a 16th. And I don't know who picks up the pieces if they fall apart. It kind of feels like Litmus Test just keeps going. That's where I really struggled in this one.
I think Litmus Test picks up the pieces. So here's my conspiracy theory of what's going to happen.
Okay, let's hear it.
If
Put
you
the
watch,
tinfoil hat on.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, I don't even think you need a tinfoil hat. I think it's if you pay attention to Baffert, it's kind of obvious to me what's going to happen. I think his two horses are going to go out there and run with Acknowledge Me Please, and I think Litmus Test is going to do exactly what he did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Now, before that race, he was a lot of speed, but in that race, he kind of stalked the pace, and he ends up running fourth all the way around the track. But if you go watch the race, he makes a move, and he's like closing, and it looks like at one point on the top of the stretch, it's like, oh, wait, he may be the horse that's going to run him down. And then he kind of flattens out because he's really, let's face it, he's not that good. But if you're facing these horses, I think he just sits about 3 lengths off of them and circles them, especially if they're getting as tired as we think they're going to get with what looks to be a lot of speed. So I think it's totally set up for Litmus Test to be the one that actually picks up the pieces here.
It's definitely possible. It's just not. It's not Baffert's style.
True.
Like if you really wanted to put the tinfoil hat, the 2 breaks in, takes out the 1, the 4 breaks out, takes out the 5 and 6, and the 3 just goes to the lead. That would be the true like Bob Baffert tinfoil hat style to win this race. My problem with Litmus Test passing horses is he's only passed 2 horses in his career.
Well.
So to assume he can pass 3 is a little bit of an issue.
But look at these 3, though.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. They're not as fast. I wanted to pick the 1 so bad. It's just like the 1's just going to go gate to wire. I can't do it. I'm going to take Litmus Test. I will. Can you even put the 5 in? No, I can't. This is not a fun race. 3-1, 3-1-4. I guess cold for me. If you want to try and make a little money, this is don't bet too much money on this race. What do you think, Aaron?
No, I'm watching it just to see, okay, is there a prospect? And then go on. Okay, when we talked about the Kentucky Jockey Club and we talked about the Remsen, it was good betting races. It's deep fields. It's like, this is fun. This is just like, well, it's a Derby prep race. We are a horse racing show. We need to cover the race.
Budget what you want to bet on this race. And then bet it at Gulfstream Park in the Tropical Park Derby and Oaks because those are good betting races.
Very much,
this is not a good betting race. So take your money you would bet here and just move it over to Gulfstream Park. That's a good way to handle this race. Number 3 Litmus Test for me. Number 3 Litmus Test for Aaron in the Los Alamitos Futurity. 10 Derby points on the line there. All right, Aaron, everyone's favorite time. It is time for some best bets. We're going all over the country with best bets here. I've got Gulfstream and Aqueduct. You've got Fairgrounds and Aqueduct. But before we do that, we did have our first ever head-to-head best bet last week. And I want to give props to you. Your horse, Wally's World, wins the race at 4-5. So just a little bit of props. Not even money props because the horse wasn't even money. My horse, who is 15-1 on the morning line, finishes second at 9-1. $18.90 exacta for $1. So if you just put our 2 horses together, 19-1 on the exacta. So good job by you. Good job by us. We'll hopefully have more head-to-head best bets in the future.
Well, look, I text you right after the race, and I didn't brag at all. I want everybody to know. I text you and I said your horse ran fantastic. That was a great job because look, it's not a fair fight 4-5 versus 9-1. It's just not. And honestly, at the top of the stretch, it was so fun. And if you listened to the show and you bet the exacta, you had a great time because you knew it was coming in at the top of the stretch. And I forget who was on Ruse, your horse, but it was a phenomenal ride. Just scraped the paint, cut the corner. And then my horse is out in the parking lot, but, it was just he was better horse that day. But anyway, really good race. It was fun to watch it come in. And I thought yours ran so well. He was 15-1 morning line, bet down to 9-1, like you said. And I really thought, man, he's going to sneak through and win this thing. That's going to be great. But, no, it didn't happen. But still, great exacta.
Yeah, we'll take the exacta. Good for the show. Got a couple DMs over on Twitter. People who had some shekels on it. They were very pleased at 19-1 as well. Keep Ruse in mind. That the Ruse is a usable horse that does not get bet because of all the mess that is in the past performances. We'll probably run back at Gulfstream there. As long as we have an inside post, I think Ruse a little interesting who was able to close that day instead of being forwardly placed. All right, best bets for this weekend. I'm going to let you kick it off here. You're going to head to Fairgrounds. I don't think we've had a best bet from Fairgrounds here. Saturday, race number 6. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go race number 6, Fairgrounds. It's the Louisiana Champions Day Lassie Stakes. So you got state-bred horses running there at Fairgrounds. I mentioned that Curlin was the first like major horse I ever saw, kind of the reason I got into racing. How about the number 5, Little Miss Curlin in this race? Any Curlin horse, I take it notice of. And so this one I was watching at Delta Downs when she made her debut, and I thought, hey, that's a pretty nice little horse there. And then second out wins a state bred race right here at Fairgrounds and does it easily. I think she does it easily again. I love that she's forwardly placed. She really finishes her races strong. And believe it or not, this is not sired by Curlin. This is not a Curlin mare, a horse that I also remember, Milady Curlin, out of, and this horse is by Charlatan, I should say. So all in all, just love everything about this one. So I'm going to go Fairgrounds race 6. Give me the number 5, Little Miss Curlin.
First best bet for me this weekend, we're going to head to Gulfstream Park, race number 6. Same race, different track. I'm going to go with the number 4, Nate the Great. Shocked by the morning line price here. 8-1 on the morning line here for Nate the Great, which I think is going to just sit a phenomenal trip here on this turf course. We've talked about horses at Gulfstream Park that are speed horses on the synthetic that then switch over to the turf, and how hard it is to win forwardly placed on synthetic and how hard it is to close on the turf. Well, this is a horse that was winning well forwardly placed on the synthetic, and now we are switching over to a turf course where I think the tactical ability of this horse is really going to be benefited by going over to the turf. Has run on the Gulfstream Park turf 6 times, is two wins, 1 second, 1/3 in those 6 efforts. Has been running on the synthetic consistently the last 10 races of the career. Now we get back to turf. I think is a really good spot. There is other speed, but Nate the Great should be able to get a very good trip here, sitting right behind the 1 and the 2 who want to go. Give me the number 4, Nate the Great, Gulfstream Park, race number 6 on Saturday, 8-1 on the morning line.
I like that pick. I'll give you, let's try to hit the Exacta again here at Gulfstream. I like the number 8, Adios Cole, a little bit as well. Junior Alvarado gets aboard there. I think this horse looks really good in the spot. It's a really nice spot. Another one I think gets a pretty decent, trip, kind of stocking trip. So let's get 4-8 home there. That'd be fun.
Owned by Jeffrey Cole. Anytime you have the name of the owner in the horse, usually a pretty good sign from a talent perspective. I think Active Fool, a little interesting gate to wire there as well. If you're interested in a trifecta, let's really go for it. Why not, right?
Well, we might as well give it away. So
Exacta's too easy for us now. Might as well play a trifecta. On that note, my second best bet, something we don't do a ton here, is a straight trifecta. Give me Aqueduct, race number 7. This is the go for one, $150,000 stakes race. I wanted to try and beat Way the Risk, who's the number 3 horse. I couldn't find a way around this horse. It's a Chad Brown trainee who has just been in very good form ever since switching over from the turf to the dirt. I think is placed very well here. I think Way the Risk is a deserving favorite, but I want to try and find some value. So we're going to play a trifecta cold here. Going to put Scalable, the number 2 horse, in second for Todd Pletcher. Stretching out to a mile should benefit this horse. Was closing on Way the Risk last time at 7 furlongs. I think is able to round out the Exacta there. And then for third, we're going to go with the 6 Stonewall Star. It's been much better the last 2 races, projects to get the lead. I think the 6 leads the race early. The 3 makes the first move, gets to the lead. The 2 not able to run the 3 down, but does pass the 6. So cold, trifecta, race number 7 at Aqueduct, 3, 2, 6. Aaron, your best bet going to race number 8, unless you want to. You look like you want to comment. Tell me about my best bet here.
I'll comment on your best bet, and then I'll just go right to mine. My best bet at one point this morning was a 3-6 straight Exacta in your race. So
interesting.
Hopefully it comes in 3-2-6 now that it's yours. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think you can beat Way the Risk, and I think the 6 makes sense for second. So again, hopefully your 2 gets second and not the 6. But anyway, yeah, that's that. I had it wrote down for a half second, and then I deleted it and went with this one, Aqueduct race number 8. Maybe you play a straight double here, the 3 from the last race. Into the 5, Collect the Data. That's going to be my horse here. So Aqueduct race 8, number 5, Collect the Data. Really, really nice horse. Winner of 3 out of the last 4, running in pretty similar races to this. Last time out, stretch out to this 1 mile distance, and I thought it was the best race of her career. Really, really like her in this spot. I will say I'm a little worried about the price. I like the 1 Save Us Melania in second. So if the price gets too short on Collect the Data, I like a Exacta straight 5-1 in this spot as well. But number 5, Collect the Data in the 8th at Aqueduct for me.
Yeah, I think the 5 is the class of that field. She should be able to get the job done. I think the 6, Philly Freedom, a little interesting as well, cutting back out of the Mother Goose. That would be a Chad Brown Exacta as Chad trains Collect the Data and Philly Freedom. Save Us Melania, another interesting one toward the rail there. All right, Aaron, That's all she wrote here for VSiN at the track. Exciting weekend. We open up Oaklawn. We've got Gulfstream Park going on. We've got Los Alamitos. A lot of fun there. Any closing remarks here before we head into the weekend of racing?
Well, you said you had the college football national champion picked out. So I just want to hear who it is so I can bet against.
Georgia over Texas Tech.
Okay, I can't bet against because I have Georgia.
Yeah, I went back and forth between Oregon and Georgia, or Oregon and Texas Tech for the other semifinal position. I ended up going with Texas Tech. I love this Tech team.
Yeah.
Dominant on the trenches. Like, that to me is a big part of what you need to do to be able to be successful in college football. And they're a little bit of a price. I think that's interesting. Georgia's 6-1, I think, wins it all. But I don't mind playing the Exacta. You can get the Exacta at 40-1, Georgia over Texas Tech. It's a little bit of a sweat for me. Why not, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's very nice. Not a believer in Indiana. I'm not fully either yet, so I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I think Georgia, Ohio State. That's the game that could decide it.
I believe in Indiana and Ohio State. I just don't think they're priced correctly. I mean, again, it goes like we talk about this all the time on horse racing. What is the price versus the probability? To me, like Indiana and Ohio State haven't really been tested. Like, that is the other part of it. Their big game is playing each other. And I guess you could say the Oregon game for Indiana as well when they went on the road. So to me, I'd rather take a little bit of a shot here. I think Georgia the right price on top, and I'll take Tech out of the other bracket. All right, that's it for us here. VSiN at the track. I am Mike Somich. He is Aaron Halterman for our super producer, Matt Deutsch, who is behind the scenes making all of this happen. Thank you very much. And for everybody tuning in, appreciate it. If you beat me last weekend, make sure you have an ExpressBet account so you can get your free $30. Shoot them an email. Sign up for an ExpressBet account now, our official sponsor here at VSiN at the track. Good luck this weekend at the track.